Did CourageJD get carried to Apex Predator? And is the entire community right or wrong? And is it even the entire community that's upset that he's claimed to be better than he is? Well, I have an opinion on it. I'm going to break it down today, but so does Nick Merckx. Let's watch what he has to say.
Designful's eyebrows. Jesus
I haven't seen him.
Christ.
Can I look him up?
Oh my God. He's streaming?
Designful
That's great.
eyebrows.
Oh, he's got some brows, man.
He's got some brows.
CourageJD has an ego too, apparently. Yeah, I don't know. I love Jack. I really do. I fucking love the guy, you know. But I don't care if I'm on stream in front of 50,000. I don't care if it's him and me hipping a fucking tequila. I'm gonna tell him, you got fucking carried, and we can argue about it all day. I don't fucking care. I'm gonna say it. Don't care. I can get Deluxe right now. Me, Deluxe, Designful.
Deluxe. So Nick Merckx obviously is expressing that Jack got carried. But where did this even come from? Why was this a drama at all? Nick Merckx, Dr. Disrespect, Tim the Tab Man, they all came over and were having a great time playing Apex. We know what happened with Tim. You guys love that video. You guys have loved this last Nice Week video. So we're going to do a little combination like we did before and get into this because I think there is an answer here. Now, the reason this kind of started is because on August 19th, Jack played with Tanner and Nicewig, two Apex Predators players who have been playing since the beginning of Apex Legends. I've done an event in person in LA in Season 3 with Tanner. He's an unbelievable player. Nicewig, obviously, no introduction needed. We just did a video on him. Go watch it if you need it. That's how good this guy is, now part of 100 Thieves. He did this tweet saying, Apex effing Predator. To the thousands of people who have tweeted me I got carried and that I'm not good enough to get Predator, you're all trash. Spending more time getting better at the game instead of chirping. Solo duo queue only to Predator GG. Now, this is a little misleading because he did play most of his time with Tanner and with Nicewig and learn the game from him and from them, and then apparently off stream played by himself in solo only duo queue and said this. Now, obviously, this was not taken kindly to the community, which made a Reddit hate thread about Courage because of this, which is a little ridiculous, if you don't mind. I've been on the bad side of Reddit. Trust me. Jack went on to not only respond to that, but respond a lot to those comments. And then a few days ago tweeted this: solo bronze to masters equals check. Now, 2 weeks ago, a Reddit hate thread about me got 8,000 upvotes and thousands of comments that I was carried to masters and didn't deserve my rank. So I made a fresh account and did it entirely by myself. I completed it in 53 hours. Smile and wave. What was, I think, more important is that in the comments, Dr. Lupo actually said, Nick Merckx, do you have anything to say to this? And Nick Merckx says, Masters is Predator. Essentially saying, okay, you said you were Predator. Masters isn't Predator. So if you could solo the Predator, that's a different story. Let's see that happen. And obviously, Nick Merckx still not backing down from his statement. Courage not backing down from his. But why was the community so upset? I mean, is this real? Did he really get carried or not? Well, I think this really sums it up right here. This comment got about 75 likes, and I think essentially this is what the disconnect is. Courage recently getting to Predator while playing with two OG Predators is just a prime example of Warzone streamers getting to Diamond Master while being truly carried by these streamers. I understand Apex streamers are inclined to play with these players because their viewer count and fans will jump, but to me, it just is ruining the game for us everyday players who will max out at Diamond Masters because we don't have the Pred players to carry us. And did you catch it? What he said right there. It is ruining the game for us everyday players. Here's the main issue, and I'm going to bring it in. Here's the new notepad, guys, because we're about to get into the video, because now I'm going to break down Courage's gameplay and see if there's truth to this or not. Here's the main issue. A lot of us, and, you know, I think myself, I relate to Courage as a player. I think he's a good player, and I think ultimately he's a very intelligent person. He's a great content creator and businessman. Do I look at him and say he's so much better at Apex than me, or that he's better at all? I don't really say that. I'm not sure most do. I think a lot of people look at Courage and say, I can do that. What that looks like, that gameplay, I can make that gameplay happen. They look at the Predator players, however. You look at Hal, you look at Ace, you look at, I mean, Dizzy, Shroud. You look at people who are really, truly at a level where we say, you're at the top of the top, and we go, I don't know how to do that. I can't do that yet. And I think that's why, because we don't have this separation of Courage versus Hal, they're both Apex Predators, it becomes very hard for the community to accept that a player that looks like them, talks like them, talks like them, walks like them, quacks like them in terms of Apex gameplay is really there, especially when they're playing with other players who they look at their gameplay and go, well, I can't do anything those other two guys are doing. That's really good. But what Courage is doing, I can do, and yet he's trying to say we're all one and the same. And this is, I think, really the rub. A lot of players are feeling frustrated that he's not saying this with any humility in terms of their eyes. This brings up a couple issues for me. And again, I think I want to preface this video by saying I think Courage has a lot to teach us. For those who are upset, think about why you're upset. Is it because he's gotten results? Maybe that's the problem. He is a very good results-oriented player, but let's see why he gets his results and if there are any mistakes or any things to learn from Courage's gameplay. I found this clip on his solo Bronson Masters Challenge of a hot drop here, and I want us to walk through this.
Perfect weapons, man.
Because he illustrates some prime problems.
Here, 2 teams.
A lot of players don't understand when they're trying to climb ranks.
3 teams here, 3 teams. Perfect weapons, man. Great weapons. Really great weaponry.
Oh, sit tight, guys. We got a good one here. We got a good one today. I'm excited to be back.
Perfect, man.
Thank y'all for showing love for the birthday, by the way. That was awesome.
Perfect. Good
All
stuff.
my advanced GG purchases. Y'all rock. I appreciate you. Keep watching, guys. Keep watching.
Whole other team. Whole other team. I'm dead. Dude. Bruh. Why do I loot 2 pills? Oh my god. I get an RE40 fucking P2020. Not even an RE45. God damn it.
There it is. So this is actually one of the greatest things that Jack does that we can learn from, and it's also one of the things that he can learn from and you guys can learn from here, because this is something I notice he does in almost every single moment of his gameplay. And this will really improve his skill and really allow him to achieve some of those plays that a lot of these Apex Predators think. Now, what happens is he is landing with 3 teams. The way ranked works, and typically the way you will find ranked at the highest level, is you're going to see the areas where people land in competitive ALGS are almost blocked off. There's a really weird dynamic. When I was in Poland casting the first ALGS LAN, it was an amazing experience because I was learning that these people are essentially saying, I'm landing Geyser. And then it's like this social contract that no one lands Geyser. Or NRG saying, I'm landing staging. And HRN goes, I'm landing staging. And then they're going to split it. This is a really weird thing because basically it's an ego challenge. Sentinels, who were extremely good at the time, said, we're going to go sorting factory. It's like 3 times bigger than staging, better loot, but no one's going to challenge them because they don't want to lose in an early drop to Sentinels. So most players find it actually valuable to separate, say, this is our territory, TSM, all of Fragment East is theirs, and we're just going to let you guys get looted up, then we're going to fight for real. The reason being is because every time you land with a bunch of teams, 3 teams here, at the start of a ranked game, you minimize your opportunity to be successful because you're basically giving random number generators, RNG, a chance to screw you over with loot, with a bad drop, lag, whatever it is, before you get geared up. If you fight people with purple shields and similar high-tier weapons, then that's basically skill and game sense that can determine it. But if you only get a P2020 and then an RE45, and then you have to go fight someone with a purple shield who got lucky with a Mastiff, then you're going to probably lose no matter what your skill level is. And this is one of those things that in ranked, we can all learn from to improve. Landing spots in ranked matters, okay? Finding these landing spots are perfect, and ideally you want to land alone, and you want to start fighting around 8 to 10 in terms of 10th place. The reason is, in bronze, silver, and gold, you can essentially be neutral or positive by the time you start fighting at 8 to 10th place based on the amount of points they take away from you. So once you start fighting, you either go back to scratch if you lose, or you start gaining positive RP. In platinum, you do have to start getting contested, and you might get contested as soon as you get your weapons. Still try not to do that off drop, but you still may find yourself having to fight a lot more aggressively. In platinum, diamond, masters, predator, that just gets worse and worse and worse, and this is where teams become really, really important. This is what Courage is kind of showing us here, the fact that when you do this a different way, it's not very successful. Another thing that I really want to show you guys is what he does right here. He gets a Mastiff in a P2020, and the second that he has a chance to change it out, he changes out the Prowler with the P2020, and then he finds an L-Star, and instead of taking an L-Star Mastiff or a Prowler Mastiff, what he does is he takes an L-Star Prowler, and I noticed this in Courage's gameplay, that he doesn't like to use shotguns. I don't know what that is, but it is a huge thing you guys have to understand. Look at this clip from Fade. Okay, a guy we're going to look at. Now, it may not look so crazy, but it may look a little different than what you're seeing Courage doing. And Fade is one of those movement god players. But look at how valuable the Mastiff is. Look at his loadout here, Flatline Mastiff. You're going to notice a trend. Fade is one of those players that as he keeps playing, you will see that there is a level of execution the Mastiff brings to the table. And this is why shotguns, people get them wrong so often in Apex Legends, especially newer players. Shotguns are burst, okay? They are not DPS oriented. It's okay. Sustained damage is not what you need when you're going to try to win multiple encounters in a row. You have to have high burst, high pressure weapons. And so one R301, one flatline, one wingman, one something, and a Mastiff is what is going to be the difference. And if you think I'm kidding, let's look at another moment here from Courage into where having this weapon and these two weapons, which is going to be our next tip here, does not benefit him. You'll see right here, weapon choice is huge. One of Courage's favorite weapons here is the charge rifle. Okay, let's watch this clip and I'll show you how it is. And this is a great weapon for ranked. The problem is what happens when you have to fight. So this starts out with him getting about 2,600 damage. He's used the charge rifle all game, and now he's getting pushed by another team.
Yep.
He's looking to, he has to reload
Don't go near there. Don't go near there.
because he doesn't have a
Life and
swap, and it just illustrates the impact of the players pushing him. They have EVA 8s. And let's even look at it again. Let's look at a random game from Shiv. Solo queue to Predator. What is he using?
There's one. Check.
Shiv is using a wingman and a Mastiff. And yeah, he's a player we're going to look at, so I'm not going to spoil that one for you. Let's look at It's Timmy's movie. Solo queue to Predator. There are Krabers in that one, but I want you to look at his, every time we look at it, there's an R301 wingman, a wingman being a high burst, high mobile weapon. There's a R301 Peacekeeper, R301 Peacekeeper, R301 EVA 8, wingman EVA 8, R301 R99, maybe one of the only moments, but R301 Peacekeeper, R301 EVA 8, R301 EVA 8, R301 EVA 8, alternator EVA 8, flatline EVA 8, R301. Are you guys seeing the trend? Are you seeing the trend? And especially in Masters Predator, are you seeing the trend? A lot of these plays and these high-level experiences cannot be pulled off unless you have a high-burst weapon. And again, I've tried to explain a little bit about what that means, what that burst looks like. Here is a great example. Burst, DPS is sustained damage, typically with little to no cost, while burst is damage that is front-loaded. Front-loaded. Because when I hit you with 100 damage here, you have to start healing, reloading, or running away. If I hit you with 50 damage, sustained damage, you might be able to juke and get around the box and maybe still fight me because you've dodged all my bullets. If I hit you with 100 right away from a Mastiff, you have 100 life left, and now you've got to heal and move. And this is one of those things that I think players can be better at, especially when they're trying to find moments where they want to be more successful in their games. Finding the right weapon choice is huge. Now, there's another moment here that Courage has, and I want to find it for you guys because there's a bit of a 1v3 dynamic. We may be able to find it on here or not. You know what? And we're probably just not going to do it. But essentially what the essence of the clip is that Courage has here, and this is another moment that I looked at as well, is that essentially Courage plays a game and he gets chased by players who are 3 of them coming at him at the same time. And he says that is impossible. This is truly an impossible thing to win. And one of the reasons why I think it's such an interesting clip, especially when you look at what you're seeing with Fade and you look at Hal and you look at Asu, and these are all Predator players, right, that Courage is saying he is that the weapon choice that he has is very, very hard, for Courage to actually have the same level of success. I think that ultimately is the biggest thing that I notice. Again, an R301 Volt. Listen, this is in August. It doesn't mean that he's still that player, but a lot of times Courage will ditch. Right here, he has a Mastiff at the start of the game, but he'll ditch it for a flatline and a Volt. He will, a lot of times, ditch these types of things, these high-burst weapons for sustained DPS. And to me, I think this is why his gameplay looks a little bit different, is because his goal, what he loves to do, is stand and aim. And I think this is one of those things where his game sense, his intelligence, his ability to trust his aim and his experience as a FPS player comes in handy. It's also why his gameplay looks maybe a little less fast, a little bit less movement-oriented, and maybe a little bit less complicated or even, let's say, successful as some of these Apex Predators that we know lean on movement, high burst damage, shotgun-oriented play. But here's the difference. Courage just won that game. Courage is a player that knows how to win. And whether you say that he was boosted or not, here's my ultimate final kind of pitch, because you can see how he plays here. And I want to wrap up the statement of what I really think personally, because I think Courage is a results-oriented player. And I think we need more results-oriented players in Apex Legends, because it's not all about flash. Only a few people are going to be able to have that level of flash, that level of experience, that level of technical skill, and that level of time to commit to it. He's a full-time content creator. He owns an esports org, one of the most successful in the world, and he's a multifaceted person. So he doesn't have time to play competitive pro Apex Legends like you might see Hal or someone who only does this. And to me, this is where I think Courage gets a unfortunate rap, because he has so many things going for him that allow him to do this. You couldn't switch Courage with just a normal player to succeed in Apex Legends and actually win a game and get to Predator, even if Nicewig and Tanner were there. But I think a lot of people are upset about his reaction. They're upset about how he's not being maybe humble about it in their eyes. And I think ultimately it's allowing them to miss why Courage and why this play style can actually be rather successful for players who are grinding, who are trying to improve. It's if you have a result, you can overall get yourself a track to run on. Most players just play Apex hoping they'll improve one day. When you have goals, you get dopamine when you achieve them in your brain. That means your brain then seeks out ways for you to keep achieving more goals. This is a fundamental aspect. You also need to understand that Courage, one of the things I really think he's done well is he shifts the blame when things are going wrong to external situations. Oh, I couldn't pick the banner up. I couldn't do that. In a way, we all do that, but I think Courage does that in almost a better way personally, because it allows you to have a healthy sense of personal impact. Even though things go wrong, you don't blame that on you being bad. You blame it on circumstances. And when things go well, you say, yeah, I did that. Now, some people may that silly. That's not true. But it helps you to have a really healthy mentality so that when the world crashes down around you, you can just blame the world, keep moving on, and keep trusting, believing in yourself. This is ultimately a healthier way for people to behave. It's one of the most interesting psychological principles I think I learned in my career in psychology, and I think it's something that Courage does really, really well. Ultimately, this is what I think, guys. I think Courage is essentially in a tough situation. If Neymar, Messi, and Ronaldo on a team of 3v3 win a world championship, or Kevin Durant, LeBron James, and James Harden win a world championship, no one's going to say either of them got carried. But if you take somebody who's going to play with Ronaldo and Messi, who's just a soccer player who's just coming in to play soccer for the first time, or maybe coming in to play this specific type of soccer, but, you know, is known for something else. Yes, Messi and Ronaldo are going to get the hype for that. Tanner and Wig are proven excellent players by their own right. They've had their own experiences in Apex. They've succeeded without Courage being there and without each other. And so the fact that Courage joined that and is saying, you know, we're all on the same level, I think is what really has rubbed people the wrong way. But what they're missing, like I've explained in this video, is that Courage is an incredible results-oriented player. He's shown that in his business acumen, his career, to rise to the top as much as he can be. However, I think one of the most important things that being a results-oriented person is that sometimes you get results, but people don't like the way you got them. And that's unfortunately what Reddit and the Apex, a lot of the Apex scene thought. I think that what Courage demonstrated is that there are a lot of ways that you can be successful in Apex, which should give every one of you hope, so that you don't have to look like Hal, you don't have to look like Nicewig, you don't have to look like Tanner, you don't even have to look like Courage, and you could still get the goals you want, because he had goals, he got those goals, and ultimately, that's what matters, right, guys? So we have to probably leave the hate outside and say that, hey, this is a guy who's shown us what it means to get his goals done again and again and again. Content creation, org ownership, casting, Apex Legends, Valorant, Fortnite, whatever it is, you got to give him credit for it. My last point, everybody wants to be a star nowadays, guys. That's not realistic. What about a role player? What about a bench player? Is it okay? And this, you know, kind of goes for Courage too. It's not about you being better than everybody, in my opinion. What I think is that you obviously have a different style than Hal. There are different tiers of Apex Predator quality players. But why do we have this thing where it's like, unless I'm the guy who did it or made it happen, kind of feel like I didn't get enough? Man, when I came from playing sports, there's always that person who rode the bench a little bit more, who was a role player. But guess what? They still got a ring at the end of the day. They still got that championship. And I think Apex Legends, you can't solo 1v3 all the way to Predator by yourself. Even when you're solo queuing, you're still playing with 2 other players. So let's cut it out that we're all somehow these gods at this game. We need each other. That's in life and in Apex. Hopefully you guys get that. And hopefully this elucidates that. I don't think Courage really got carried to Apex. I don't think anyone could have been in his position. But I do think that there's these nuances we have to understand about this topic. It makes it very interesting. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. We got more coming up, especially with Shiv, and especially with a couple of other great things. Fade, especially coming up in these videos. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Leave a like on it. Get to 50% if you can. And as always, never give up, never stop gaming. I'll see you all next time.